Hi guys, Chris here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about my TBR for the Phoenix Riders Readathon. This readathon is being hosted by Megan, Callum, and Brianna, and I will leave all of their links, the links to the announcement video and the links to the Google Drive in the description below. This readathon was inspired by the Crown of Feathers series. So in this readathon, there's different tiers and paths you can take. I will leave it to Megan in her announcement video to explain all of the intricate details, and I will just tell you about the path that I'm going to take. So you have to finish each tier before you can move on to the next one. Everybody has to do the first two tiers before they move on to the next path where we kind of all branch off. So first up is Stable Hand. And the first prompt for that is Welcome Wagon. Read a book from your favorite genre. My favorite genre is fantasy. So for this prompt, I chose Conceal Don't Feel by Jen Kalanita. This is a book in the Twisted Tales series. And in this one, we follow Anna and Elsa from Frozen. And the twist is, what if Anna and Elsa never knew each other? The next prompt is Get to Know Everyone. Read a book by a person of color and LGBTQ+ author. For this, I chose Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I was originally going to do Loveless, but my library didn't have it. And during my research for that, I believe I found that that book is Own Voices and Loveless is about a romantic asexual. So that would definitely make her part of the LGBTQ+ community. So I believe this book counts for this prompt. The next prompt is Learn about history or mythology. And for this prompt, you have to read a historical fiction or a retelling. For this, I chose Agatha Christie's The Mysterious Affair at Styles. This book was written ages ago. It's obviously historical fiction. And a few months ago I read And Then There Were None and loved it. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book. And the last prompt for Stable Hand is to clean the stables. Read the book that's been on your TBR the longest. For this one, I've chosen Ghost at Work by Carolyn Hart. I've read this book before and I've had it for ages. I believe, let's see. Yeah, it came out in 2008. And so, like I said, I've had it for a while and it's part of a series. It's the first book in the series. And I've wanted to get back into the series for a long time, but it's been so long that I don't remember really what happened. So this seemed as good a time as any to restart this series. Once I've finished those 4 books, I can move on to tier 2, which is Apprentice. So for that, the first thing I have to do is find an egg. For this, I need to read an underhyped book, and I've chosen The Sea Garden by Deborah Lawrenson. This book has just over 1,000 reviews on Goodreads, so it definitely feels like a book that hasn't gotten much attention. This is a historical fiction with dual timelines. In present day, we follow Ellie Brooke, who is working to restore a garden. And in the past, we're set around World War II, where we follow 2 women, Iris and Marth, who are working in the lavender fields of Provence. The next prompt is to take care of or incubate your egg. And since we know that can take a while, you have to read a book that's over 300 pages. For this, I've chosen And I Darken by Kirsten White. This book comes in at, let's see, 475 pages, so it's definitely over the 300-page threshold. This is a historical fiction fantasy that's set in the Ottoman Empire, and I've had it on a few TBRs, haven't gotten around to it, so I'm hoping that this readathon will help me get through it. Next up is Get Sponsored. Read a book that was gifted to you. And for this, I chose Stars of Fortune by Nora Roberts. This was a Christmas gift from my mom. I've read it before, haven't finished the trilogy, and decided that this is one of the last books that was gifted to me, actually. I don't typically get books as presents very often. So I had very limited options, so this gives me a reason to reread this book and maybe finally finish the trilogy. And the last prompt for this tier is Hone Your Animage Skills. Read a book featuring mythical creatures. And for this, I chose Secret in the Stone by Kamilla Benko. This is part of the Unicorn Quest, so I'm guessing there are going to be unicorns featured in this book, and unicorns are definitely mythical creatures. At least, as far as I know, I've never seen one. After finishing Tier 2, that's when the paths diverge, and I have chosen to go down the route of Phoenix Caretaker. The first prompt for this is to read a book with plants and or green on the cover. For this, I have chosen A Dangerous Collaboration by Deanna Rayborn. As you can see, this cover is completely green, so it definitely fulfills this prompt. This takes place in the late 1800s, and we're following Victoria Speedwell as she solves mysteries. This is the 4th book in the series. I've loved the first 3 books, and I'm excited to jump back in. Next up is Study Poison. Read a book you know nothing about, or a book that has polarizing opinions. For this, I've chosen If the Magic Fits by Susan Maupin Schmid. I literally know nothing about this book. I've been trying to narrow down my physical TBR, and I have several books on my physical TBR that are like the 2nd or say 3rd books in the series. So I've started taking books out of the library that start the series, and this is the 1st book in the series, so I legitimately have no idea what it's about. And so that'll definitely fill this prompt. I mean, obviously it's a middle grade, and I'm guessing it has something to do with magic since magic's in the title, but other than that, I know nothing about it. The next prompt is Study Flying. Read a book featuring a dragon or a phoenix. And for this prompt, I'm going to read Crown of Feathers, the 1st book in the series that this readathon is inspired by. So according to Goodreads, this book is, it says, I had a sister once. In a world ruled by fierce warrior queens, a grand empire was built upon the backs of phoenix riders, legendary heroes who soared through the sky in wings of fire until a war between 2 sisters ripped it all apart. I promised her the throne would not come between us. 16 years later, Veronica is a war orphan who dreams of becoming a phoenix rider from the stories of old. After a shocking betrayal from her controlling sister, Veronica strikes out alone to find the riders, even if that means disguising herself as a boy to join their ranks. But it is a fact of life that one must kill or be killed, rule or be ruled. Just as Veronica finally feels like she belongs, her sister turns up and reveals a tangled web of lies between them that will change everything. And meanwhile, the new empire has learned of the riders' return and intends to destroy them once and for all. Sometimes the title of queen is given. Sometimes it must be taken. I had never heard of this book before this readathon, and I felt like if I was going to do the readathon, I should read the book. And since there are phoenix in this book, this will fulfill the prompt. And the final prompt for this tier is Study Medicine. Read a science fiction novel. For this, I have chosen Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the 2nd book in the Aurora Cycle trilogy. At least I think it's a trilogy. And I read the 1st book last month and loved it, and I'm really looking forward to see what happens to Tyler and his team in this book. The cool thing about this readathon is that this is only round 1. They plan to have more rounds, so if I can't get to everything, I can pick up where I left off during the next round of this readathon. These are most of the books that I'm hoping to get to during this readathon. Let me know if you're participating and what you're reading down in the comments below. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!